Hello everyone, hope you've all been well and welcome back to the channel. Recently I've seen quite a few new subscribers, so thank you to everyone who has just joined as well as those who've been subscribed for a while now. I'm hoping that all of you who love Channa will keep locked on for more updates. So this is my little care vlog for Channa Pulchra. Channa Pulchra is actually somewhat in between a dwarf snakehead and a medium-sized snakehead, growing up to about 30 centimeters in length. So they're neither a dwarf nor one of the true largest snakeheads, but somewhere in between. Originally from the western region of Myanmar and found there in cool streams, which are quite highly oxygenated and subtropical in temperature. I would say first off, in comparison to a lot of the other snakeheads that I keep, such as Blaheri and Brunea and Andral, I think the first thing I noticed is that Pulchra, in comparison, are much more active swimmers. They're much more pelagic. I don't see them hanging around in the plants near the top much and just kind of loafing around. And I can like Blaheri and Brunei do a lot, and I can definitely see that they are more powerful and more fast swimmers than the smaller dwarf snakeheads. So knowing that, I have set up their tank to be, I think, quite different from a lot of my other snakeheads. Uh, what's I think the major thing that's different is that I've given them a lot of space to swim around rather than creating a very densely planted tank, which is what I usually do for the dwarf snakeheads. One thing I have noticed is how they like to burrow a lot into the leaves and the substrate, which is something I don't see my other fish do that much. So I think for anyone who's thinking about keeping Pulchra, I think it would definitely be nice to put some leaves at the bottom of the tank that allow them to show and exhibit some of this natural behavior. For their tank, I've gone a bit heavier on the filtration. Knowing that they are from these highly oxygenated streams, I've put in an extra internal filter alongside my standard sponge filter, just in, I think, in an effort to try and get the tank oxygen levels high and to keep the water cleaner. As with all my other channel though, I am keeping water changes to a minimum. Generally, I'm just topping up their water mostly when it evaporates. My experience, and I think the experience of a lot of other Channa keepers, is that Channa just don't seem to react very well to water changes, and often they start fighting immediately after a water change, which causes a lot of headaches. So I really try and keep the water changes to a minimum where possible. Uh, for water temperature, like the other snakeheads such as Blairi, Andra, Brunea, which come from subtropical areas, Pultra also require a temperature drop in the cool season. It's December now, and I'm trying to keep a tank temperature of 18 centigrade now using air conditioning. I think in the spring I will allow that temperature to rise again. I think this drop in temperature is actually really essential for these China that come from these subtropical regions. I live in a tropical country in Southeast Asia, but for those of you who come from the more temperate climates, which are colder, I would suggest just letting your aquarium temperature fall with the seasons and just match whatever the season temperature is. Okay. I'm keeping three juveniles in this tank now. They are about, I think, about 12 centimeters long. Uh, so far, one has become dominant over the others, and there's some squabbling and some fighting. This is something I'm always closely monitoring. If the fighting gets too bad, I will probably either add in a tank divider or maybe remove some fish, just making sure that, yeah, prevent any injury before anything too serious happens with them. For feeding, I feed my usual China diet, which is pellets. Specifically, I focus on pellets designed for carnivores. The brand I like to use is called Hikari. I'm quite lucky in that these poultry immediately went for the pellets, and I didn't have to do any training or any weaning onto the pellets. Once a week, I'll give some live food such as earthworms just to keep their diet varied, but you can also use a whole other range of foods which are suitable for carnivores. They also love bloodworm, which I think 99% of fish just can't resist as well. So occasionally I'll throw in a bloodworm cube for them. Um, I have three now, which actually may not be enough for a breeding pair to form. I don't have any real plans to try and breed them though. Let's see what happens down the line. I may get some more later on, and maybe possibly I may get a larger tank which can accommodate them more, but that's something I would think of probably later down the line. For Channa Pulchra, actually, this is a Channa I've always wanted to keep for a while now, but somehow I just didn't have the space for them as they are definitely on the larger side compared to the dwarf snakeheads. But I recently managed to clear out a room and dedicate a room to fish only, so really happy to be able to keep them now. When buying them, I actually had a decision to make whether it was going to be Channa Pulchra or Channa Orna, which is another very, very similar species from the same region of Myanmar. However, what I heard was that Channa Orna actually much more aggressive towards one another, and that keeping groups was very difficult. So in the end, I decided on Channa Pulchra in the end, as they are a bit more easygoing in a species only tank. Well, maybe next time I'll be able to get the Channa Orna. There are actually like a few variations of Pulchra which appear in the fish store sometimes. My three are the standard blue Pulchra, which is the most, I think, the most commonly available one. But there are also red Pulchra. There are also some individuals which I think are wild caught, which have these yellow lips. There is also another one which has popped up recently, which is called mimetic Pulchra. I don't know yet if these are proper subspecies or even totally different species, but you may see these different types appear in the shops and the breeders from time to time. My guess would be that care for them is basically the same as for the standard blue Pulchra. There's also, quite interestingly, a cross between Pulchra and Orna, which is called Orcha. That appears on the market sometimes, which is, yeah, also quite unusual. Uh, because Pulchra and Orna are so close, they're actually able to breed with each other. Actually, I've seen on YouTube some videos of someone trying to cross a Blahiri and an Andra together as well, though I don't know if they're successful. So it's actually possible for some of the closer genetically related uh, Channa species to breed with each other. You can make up your own mind whether or not that sort of hybrid is your taste or not. For me personally, I'm not that interested, but if you like it, then go for it. Okay, well, that's it for this vlog. I hope for those of you who are maybe thinking of keeping Pulchra, maybe you're interested in keeping this fish, maybe, yeah, hopefully, maybe you got some ideas on what you could do to try and take care of these very, very interesting fish. Guys, stay tuned. I'm trying to release as many videos as I can in the future, just covering the channel that I have, and yeah, other aspects of care for snakeheads. I'll be trying to release a video, I think, every 2 or 3 weeks if I can. More care videos coming up for other species, Chana Maru, Chana Limbata, those are all coming up. Please do stay tuned and stay locked in. Thanks all for watching. Keep subscribed to the channel for more updates, and I'll see you soon.